All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Snap Material, your monthly source material look at the mobile game Marvel Snap. And I am your host, Jesse Starcher, and joining me, of course, is Evan Bevins. Evan Bevins, are you ready to talk some Marvel Snap tonight?
I am indeed. I spent the last month assembling various animals and won some and lost some.
Go ahead, we'll jump into this. Tonight, like I said, we're going to be talking about previous season, kind of very much similar to the format we've had last episode. We're going to talk about the previous season, the cards that got dropped, locations, and we're also going to talk about some of our purchases / unlocks over the last season, and then we got to look at the upcoming season, the Guardians' Greatest Hits, which began on May 1st. Today's the 4th as we're recording this. So we've already
May the 4th be with you, Jesse.
That is right. Right back at you. That's what they say in the Star Wars, right? Right back at you.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I think it's and also with you.
Ah, there it is. Okay, and
That's
also with you.
The Methodist sect of the Jedi.
And we're going to finish things out discussing our top 5 most hated, worst, however you want to phrase it, locations. Personal. This is definitely a personal vendetta we have against these locations. Your locations may vary. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about last season, which was Animals Assemble. So Hitmonkey was the featured card. This was oh my goodness. I got to look this up now because...
Well, he was a 2 cost, 0 power.
Yep, on reveal, gain +2 power for each other card you played this turn. So this is, if you bought the season, you got Hitmonkey. I know you had to, I think it was within minutes after the new season dropped that I'm facing people with Hitmonkey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Hitmonkey showed up. I think I remember somebody using him pretty effectively on me once, but I mean, he's a 2 cost card, but he's not a card you want to play on your second turn.
Right.
I mean, probably the best card to pair him with, I'd say, would be Mysterio, because you get 3 for the price of 1. Seen a lot of people play Mysterio and Bishop. Again,
right.
Like those classic Mysterio Bishop team-ups from the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
So I figure that's a good one. I got Hitmonkey once or twice as a random card, but I never did much with him. Of course, it's not like I was planning ahead. It was just, hey, there's Hitmonkey. So if I can slide in another card, I did. He'd be another one that would be good to drop in a Mr. Negative deck.
Yeah, something that would get
0 cost.
Yeah, you 0 cost. I think I saw a lot of Beast with him.
With Mr. Negative, he'd be really good because 0 cost, you can you can play plenty of other cards with him. He doesn't take up any of your points there. So, he wasn't like on a Nimrod or Black Panther level or anything like that. I'm sure under the right circumstances he could change a game, but not consistently.
When he come out, I was just like, okay, I had a feeling like, oh, well, I'm going to be overrun with cards. Then I'm going to see a lot of freaking cards come my way, and I just would avoid that lane that Hitmonkey was in.
It would suck to play him on Cosmo.
Yes, it would. Well, next up was Jeff the Baby Land Shark, 2/3. You can move this once, and nothing can stop you from moving or playing this to any location. I had down here that he did come out a few times against me. I didn't, it wasn't a game breaker or anything like that, but it was something where not expecting him. I mentioned down here that it was Sanctum Sanctorum. I had the Sanctum Sanctorum on the board. That is a situation where the location, nobody can play anything on that location. You can move there, but nobody can play anything. Well, Jeff showed up, and all of a sudden I see a card laid down there. I remember watching the card lay down there face down, and I'm like, how did he do that? What did he do? And then I flipped over, and it was Jeff. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, I get it now.
Much like his comic appearances, Jeff is both surprising and delightful. I didn't see him a lot, never changing the outcome of a game. I got him once. I can't remember if I actually moved him. I was looking to. I want that card on general principle just because I think Jeff is absolutely delightful. If you haven't read that issue of Deadpool where he and Deadpool try to crash Krakoa, it's excellent. He hangs out with Deadpool a lot, and then with Hawkeye, Kate Bishop version, and Gwenpool.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think he's kind of a Kelly Thompson creation. I believe he was in the West Coast Avengers revival. So just a funny character. My daughter likes him. She went through all the It's Jeff comics on Marvel Unlimited. They're short and fun. She like went through all 12 of them in one
Oh,
sitting.
that's great.
So and I think pretty soon they're going to do a print collection of them. So and then
yeah, that's right. You mentioned that. Yeah, I remember you saw.
And then our mutual associate Chris Sheehan was singing the praises of Jeff the Land Shark on X-Lapsed and said, "I mean, Marvel, what are you doing? This is the character to feature on Free Comic Book Day." But so far they haven't. No.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So, but yeah, I highly recommend Jeff the Land Shark in the comics. I like to throw Nightcrawler or Vision in a deck just to have somebody who can get into those hard to reach places, and Jeff's kind of right in between, and can go places even they can't. So
right,
I would definitely like to add him to my collection, but it's still more theoretical than any evidence I've witnessed of his usefulness.
Next up was Snow Guard, a 1-cost 2-power. While in your hand, this transforms each turn into a hawk or a bear. But I've seen it once. Was it worth anything? I mean, I've never got the cards. A lot of people are really, really like, they're not impressed with this card for some reason. I thought it would be great. I thought it would be awesome. But go ahead.
I have gotten it a couple times. I think I got the ignore all location abilities next turn, the hawk form to work once, but there was once or twice that it like randomly appeared and she didn't change into either of them. So I just had, basically Misty Knight sitting down there.
You're kidding.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's a glitch or if she's randomly generated as opposed to being played from your hand, if it's just the basic card. I'm not sure what, but yeah, there was just a Snow Guard card without a hawk or a bear and without any effects. And like I said, maybe that's one if she's like pulled out, like X Mansion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Where she doesn't actually pass through your hand. I don't know if that's the case. I probably should have researched that, but I was fine tuning my Avengers deck for later.
If Snow Guard's a hawk, on reveal, you ignore all location abilities next turn. And then if they're a bear, on reveal, trigger the effect of this location, which I thought that right there was going to be the one thing that made me go, okay, yeah, I want to use this. If you had a hot location like they do every Tuesday or Monday or Saturday, or Sunday, whenever they do the hot locations.
Or one of the other days of the week.
Well, yeah, or Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. If you got that hot location that has a great reveal ability, this card would be perfect. You could be soaring up the rankings at that point. But you've got to have the hot location, plus you've got to have the bear. So a lot of people really, it just seemed like they weren't really impressed with this card. So I don't know.
I remember I tried the bear form on the raft and it didn't work.
Oh,
and I don't know if that's because of the way, I don't know if I didn't fill it up or if it's just the first one, the way it's worded, it's the first one to fill up this location. So maybe you can't trigger it again.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I remember I'm like, I'm going to get 2 0-cost, 6-cost cards, and it didn't work. 1 cost, 2 power. I mean, she's no M'Baku, but it's not much investment, and if you do get it to work out, it could really be beneficial. Not to disparage him, but I'd take Snow Guard over Hitmonkey.
I understand.
You know who else I bet would take Snow Guard over a lot of characters?
Who's that?
Chris Bailey.
Old Charlton Hero. I'm sure he would love to put that. That'd be the prominent card in the deck.
Do you know why she's called Snow Guard?
Tell me.
She was created by Jim Zub, who's a writer who is Canadian, I believe, and her name is a homage to 2 of her favorite national heroes, Snowbird and Guardian.
Oh, really?
Of Alpha Flight fame.
Of Alpha Flight. That is correct. Wow. Yep. No wonder. Chris Bailey's got it right there in front.
There's a lot of setup just to troll Chris Bailey.
Who will never listen to the podcast. So next up, Stegron, a 4-cost, 5 power on reveal. Move an enemy card from here to another location.
Did you ever see this card, Jesse?
I sure did, folks. Oh, so I really agonized over spending 6,000 tokens for Stegron because I've never spent that many tokens before in one shot. Galactus was up at one point, and I had felt the effects of Galactus I mean, it felt like forever. I was just losing to a stupid Galactus deck over and over and over. And I'm one of those guys that's like, I see the trend. I don't want to copy the trend. I want to find something to overturn the trend. So Stegron comes up and I'm like, okay, this might be able to be something that helps me work towards overturning the whole Galactus trend that I had been seeing. Mainly what you would see in a Galactus deck, they would lay out some high-powered hitters on 2 lanes and leave 1 lane open. So I was like, okay, enough of this. I'm going to put in some stuff, but Stegron was like one of the things that I wanted to build a deck around so I could move cards from one location to possibly one of the empty locations so I could foil that Galactus deck. I purchased a card and I begin immediately. I'm starting to put decks, build these decks around it, and nothing's working. I just couldn't find anything to work with Stegron. 6,000 tokens, and I'm sitting here going, this is the biggest waste of tokens that I could have used for other things, and I wish I would have held out for like High Evolutionary or something like that. I finally start figuring out I'm going to try to do a lockdown deck with Stegron kind of in there, and it starts to win. I got Sunspot, I got Quicksilver, I got Goose, I got Zabu, I got Armor, I've got Rogue. Debris is thrown in there to just completely mess up Galactus decks, because as soon as I saw an empty location, I was throwing Debris on one of the locations that had stuff on it, and that would put a card in everybody's slot. And Galactus, that's it for Galactus. Galactus can go eat another planet, whatever he wants to do. I'm done. I don't even want to see him come out. Kazar, Stegron, Enchantress, Atuma, and Blue Marvel. Atuma specifically gave me the big boost when I had Armor. That's about the only way you can play Atuma unless you got 0. But you got Armor there, and you throw Atuma down. It's not Atuma. Atuma is going. I had to get it in there. Atuma is not going to explode if you got him in Armor, and then Blue Marvel to kind of boost things up for your Debris.
Or you can just toss Atuma out there to feed Null.
That's what I was seeing. Essentially, I was seeing Galactus get dropped, and the heavy hitters were out there like Atuma, and people would throw down freaking Ebony Maw to get 7 points, and then just destroy everything with Galactus, and then they would turn around and hit me with Null. They were smart, and they would always make sure that I had initiative. So if I laid down Enchantress, I couldn't get Null because they were saving that to the last turn.
Yeah.
So there was so many times where I was just like, I'm right up to turn 5, and there's nothing I can do because I had initiative, and I know that the next card that's getting laid is going to be Null, and they're going to destroy me. That is what I ran into the most, and I was just like, okay, I need to figure out a way to shut this down. And what I essentially landed on was Debris. But Stegron, really, I mean, when you look at that deck that I just listed off there, a lot of it is more along the lines of like, get out a lot of cards with Debris, and then pump them up with Kazar and Blue Marvel. I did put down here in my notes when the Hot Location Bifrost hit. Boy, oh boy. That was when I really started seeing some improvement because I put together a move deck that had Stegron in it, and it helped. It helped quite a bit. It went from 51 to 63, but I think I put down here, I stalled out just before 64, and I'd always flip flop. I'd get into 64, then drop back down to 63. Like I would go, I'm back over here and back down again. Oh, I'm back up again and back down again and back up, back down. So, I
had a couple decks that I was making real progress with that just kind of petered out. So
right. I don't know where the algorithm comes in and hits you, but anyway, as for Stegron, I wasn't pleased at first, but I am now. I want to, as long as you can find the right deck to put him in, he's pretty useful.
Mostly, I mean, I saw him here and there, but mostly my experience with him was when we played, and I know he was the deciding factor in our last round for sure, but yeah, he was a thorn in my side there. Too cheap to spend 6,000 tokens on anybody. I'm sitting at 2,900 to get Ghost.
So you must have been buying yours like at little bits then, right? Is that
the last few I've been doing for 3,000, but I saw Galactus and I'm like, I don't know. And I hadn't thought through the strategy with Galactus. I'm like, well, so what? You play him on the last turn and you get two points. big deal. I didn't realize that Wave is the perfect hero for Galactus.
Right. Right.
The last few I've bought have been 3,000, so I've gotten a little more patience.
Like when you spend $6,000, 6,000 tokens on a card, there is a lot of risk there as to whether it's going to be good or not. The only reason you're paying that much is because it's new. And maybe it looks great. You're essentially paying 6,000 tokens to have that card first and be able to use it and test it out. But my gosh.
Most of the ones that I've bought have been either ones that I have seen used effectively a bunch or just, characters I really like. It's like Darkhawk. I'm like, I could see how Darkhawk is useful, but even if he's not Darkhawk. Ghost, I figure I've got a couple spots lined up where I'm like, yeah, I want to be the guy who plays last every time. So I figure that's I figure she's got potential to be one of those that I just toss in just about every deck. Maybe. Right. I don't know. We'll find out if and when I get her. But yeah, I already would have, but I held back on Token Tuesdays. I wanted to get the Frog Thor. Not even so much for the Squirrel Girl variant, but for all the tokens you would get with that. I was saving my gold for that, but didn't make it. But I got plenty of cards, so
that's all good. All right, let's get into locations from last season. So we only had a couple. I do want to say, like, we're going to only encounter a couple locations this season as well. I really like locations being used. So if a new season hits, I'd want 4 new locations because we should get 4 new locations. It's something that affects the game that much. But I'm starting to realize that that's probably a tall task. They're probably going to start running out of things that they can do with locations.
I mean, we've already got ones that I've never heard of, and that I think you're still looking for their actual first appearance.
Right.
The last time I saw your spreadsheet, I sent the cloning bats to a couple people, and I'm like, do you guys have any idea where this is from? Jordan from Capal said maybe the Jackal, but yeah, we're not sure. And you're seeing that with the characters too. For a while it was 4 new cards a season. Now it's down to 3, and the first featured one is the first one that's highlighted is the featured card from the premium buy in the previous season. So they came out with so much, and then they kept pumping it up. But yeah, eventually, we're gonna get like Puerto Rico from that FF Chupacabra special. That's a real thing.
Oh, no.
Mark it down for source material in 2037.
Oh, my gosh. All right, so our locations here. Pet Mansion. This turn, all cards must be played here. I need to read the text and understand it a little better before I get all excited. For some reason, initially, I thought that it was going to just be, okay, hey, this is the Pet Mansion. Every card has to be played here until you can't play them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the case. It was just that turn. So when turn 1 popped up and there's the Pet Mansion, well, big deal. You just put the card there.
It's nice to have one that's a small wrinkle instead of one that makes somebody resign as soon as it pops up. True. Or regret your choice of deck or wonder why you bothered at all. We'll have lots of those to discuss later.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for just a minor wrinkle being thrown in there.
There was no battles that seemed to be decided by that.
I'm trying to think. I probably made a deck just because I like making decks. I may have made one, but I don't know unless it was a move deck, or maybe I threw in an extra Guardian character like you mentioned. But it's just a relief to see one pop up, and you're like, oh, okay, so I just have to play a card here, but I can. Right. I can continue with the rest of my strategy.
Right. Yeah, I think I had a whole deck devoted with Guardians in it left and right. But I mean, really, you wouldn't be able to put a Guardian card in there that has a cost of more than 3, because the third turn is when Pet Mansion's going to show up, and it isn't really going to matter after that. You can play anywhere you want on turn 4, 5, and 6. So, all right, well, let's take a look at the Sandbar. This was definitely one I expected to shape a lot of decks, and it did. Sandbar, cards with abilities can't be played here. So, yep, there was a lot of Patriot, anti-Patriot decks, a bunch of people leaning on boosting their non-powered cards. Since I saw that being a thing, Rogue and Enchantress, baby. That definitely impacted the game, for sure. It impacted people's playing, their thoughts on what they were putting the deck together, how they were going to do it.
I mainly just took my Patriot deck a lot of times I'll play my Boosters Gold deck with Ultron and Dazzler and Mojo in conjunction with Patriot, because Patriot and Ultron work really well together, just like in Avengers West Coast number 583. But that didn't exist. But
I was wondering.
When that was the featured location, I pulled a few of the boost cards out, or the other cards, and tossed a few more non-powered ones in. Yeah, it definitely shaped the decks that time, but I think it actually has a bigger effect on the game when it's not the featured location, because I've had the sandbar pop up a couple times and I've been like, I don't have a single card without an ability in my deck.
Right.
I can't play there. It's like instant Sanctum Sanctorum.
Mm-hmm. You're out of luck when
Yeah.
it's popping up randomly now, when it's not a featured location. It's a good point. Very good point.
Although it doesn't matter much if you, I did try the deck a few times with Warpath this last month, so I was like, well, I guess I know which location I'm leaving empty.
Right. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.